Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 282 of my modded Factorio playthrough. In this episode, we are going to plan for lithium-ion batteries. Enjoy! Well, it's a pretty simple thing. We've had access to this for a while now, but we needed those gold plates in order to upgrade the solar panels on our vehicles. So we'll hit that, and probably later we can upgrade our character too. But for now, we'll do that. Although our character doesn't actually have any solar panels anymore. We've been rocking just battery power and charging up on the induction coils as required, and it's worked pretty well. Of course, researching titanium processing will unlock lots of things. But I would like to get to batteries. Lithium-ion batteries in particular. And we've got a little bit of stuff we need to get through to get there. We got to do chlorine 4, can make sodium chlorate with sodium hydroxide and hydrogen chloride. That's stuff we can already make. And then that sodium chlorate can get mixed in with a blue metal catalyst, which would be the first use of that if we had those resources, to make sodium perchlorate, and mix that with hydrochloric acid to make perchloric acid. So we'll hit it. And we have access to rocket booster 2. We mix ammonia with the perchloric acid to get salt and ammonium perchlorate, and then we can add that to an iron pipe to make rocket boosters. And I have to do the math on that, but presumably that's a more efficient way than we're doing now. That's the end of the research, so we'll hit it, and we'll see if we check that later if it's worth rebuilding. Probably not, since we really don't use that many rocket boosters as fuel. I mean, it's being used everywhere for fuel, but we just don't go through it that fast. So it's probably not worth rebuilding unless it only requires a machine or two. Then maybe it would be. But then we need lithium processing, which we need to do lithium water, which pretty sure we're already handling that. Haven't done this yet, but if you process thermal water, you can make lithium water and purified water out of it. Then that lithium water can become lithium salt. And then that lithium salt can be lithium. And also, you can take the lithium salt and mix it with the sodium perchlorate from the previous step to make lithium perchlorate, salt, and hydrogen gas. And then with all of that together, we can take some of that cobalt oxide that we've been saving up specifically for this step, mix it with lithium and get the lithium cobalt oxide. And then finally, mix the lithium cobalt oxide from that step with the lithium perchlorate from the previous step, carbon and plastic, and finally, bam, we'll get our lithium-ion batteries. So that's quite the sequence of events, but it's worth doing. And I guess we can wait on researching the better battery types until we've actually got some better batteries. I saw the robots picking up lead sheet coils. It's kind of an odd thing to be picking up, which makes me think they were on the ground somewhere. Maybe a missing belt or a misadjusted inserter that was dropping something on the ground, and then the automatic robots picked them up. So that would be all the way up here, and it's nice to see an aluminum request. Not that we're really low on aluminum, but I guess actually we can check this, because it's going to come in, load up on aluminum, then we're going to start making our coils, and then as this level goes down, it has a priority set up to where it will use the manganese first, instead of making aluminum the straight way. And that's good. Seems to be working. Where were these lead sheet coils? It's possible they were just on the ground because my inventory got full. But it's just odd. They're placing where they're supposed to go. I don't see any issues. It's weird how they're only on half the belt there, but I guess it's just because they ran out, which is actually odd. They shouldn't have run out. So this one is overloaded on the used coolant. That's odd. Why is that? Is there a missing pipe or something? Oh yeah, just this right here was not connected. Or actually, it's not that it wasn't connected, it's just a piece of it was missing. Specifically this part. Just wasn't there. That doesn't explain where that coil came from. But that was a missing component. I think that was the only one. Everything else seems okay. Alright, well, we're almost done working on the batteries here. Let's just let it go to the end, and we might want to figure out exactly how many batteries we want to make. Because we probably want to make a full belt's worth. And we need batteries, but we don't need like an obscene amount of them. Were we making about 30 here? Probably what we were doing. Yeah. Since we made 30 before, let's just go with 30 again, even though our belts are 45 now. Let's still aim for 30. And potentially have some extra capacity if we need it. And yeah, robots are working as best they can. Is there an extra belt in there? Looks like it. Don't need those. Are we out? No? Oh. Well, that wasn't placed correctly. So we're not quite getting maximum output. Let's get rid of that flashing there. So it doesn't quite work like that. For now, I'll just send it the other direction, since that's our only use of these, and then we'll just have to figure out a better way to do it. When that becomes relevant. But at least there's a full belt. How is the storage warehouse going? It's always the repository of junk, so it's interesting to check. Monosilicon seeds, that's kind of makes sense about why those don't have anywhere to go. Cobalt steel gear wheels. Yeah, we did not create a place to dump them. So we'll want to make one. Right there. Glass mixture. We could actually put those where they need to go now. Tinned wire coil. Looks like they don't have a place either. As things find their way into that warehouse, that tells us that they should have went somewhere else. But there is a request here, and I guess because this thing is completely full, that didn't send any here. Well, we'll make a request for the wire. It's nice to see things operating again. Slowly working our way through resources. And that's going through our dynamic station. That is potentially something that could use an upgrade, but it's probably not that important. And when that starts to run, it's going to start going through these other resources. We can go through that. Coal filters, yeah, we can find somewhere to put those. We don't need any cobalt bearings. Reverse factory, cobalt steel, glass fibers. Well, the glass would be over here. Don't really have a dump for it, but we can make one. Just in the middle. There's that. Glass fibers, well, it comes out of this machine right here. But we're kind of overloaded on them. It's out of the network, huh? I think we made way too many glass fibers and we're significantly overloaded on them. It's going to take a long time to work our way through them. But whatever. Now they have somewhere to go again. Anything in the crawler? No, the crawler's pretty good, but we do need to upgrade these solar panels. I don't know exactly how many we have here. Looks like quite a few. Let's pick up a couple of them. So we have some new equipment. We do have the vehicle fusion cells now. But in this case, we don't really need it because it doesn't really produce that much power. Like a 2x4 makes 500 kilowatts, where this 3x4 does 7.5 megawatts. So I don't really think we need those, because definitely when this thing's going, those robots use a ton of power. But the solar panels are here just to lessen the need of running on this fuel, at least during the daytime. And it goes from 80 kilowatts to 120, and all we need is some gold, which is right here. I don't know if we've got those on here. It doesn't look like it. We'll just grab some and make like 20 panels, I suppose. We only want to make panels that we actually have. No need to make more than we need. And let's replace the rest of these. So how many more is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And there we go. Guess we can send the rest of them through the reverse factory. See, we have battery Mark 1s in there. Do we have access to anything that's better? I guess we do. Where these Mark 1s hold 75 megawatts and then Mark 2s hold 120. So those were never upgraded. But at the same time, we're just about to do lithium ion, which would be battery 3. So we probably don't need to mess with that for now. But there we go. More power for the crawler. And the rest of this gold can just be chucked back into the system. And stuff is still flowing, so that's nice. As best as it can anyway. We'll just let it continue running. But for now, we need to plan on some batteries. We need to do lithium ions. We want 30 of them. That's a lot of chemical plants, but it's a lot less potentially with productivity modules. Well, no, it's a lot more with productivity modules. Is that an insane number? It feels like it is. How many do we actually have here? We have 120 with tier 2s. So 155 with tier 3s. Is that big a deal? Nah, not really. To just take up this spot here. There's tons of space right here. And we're not that far off from pushing the wall down. But, nah, I think we could go big on this one. Won't hurt anything. Especially because it's for productivity modules. And plastic bars, that's probably a lot, but I think it'll be okay. Trains can send that. Trains can send the carbon. We just need these others. So lithium cobalt oxide will come out of the chemical furnace, and probably can just make this on hand too. And luckily it uses productivities, but then that makes it bigger. And actually, let's do the lithium perchlorate, which requires this stuff here. Electrolyzer with productivity modules. Man, okay. This has ended up being a lot bigger than I thought it would be. So maybe we'll have to put it somewhere else. Trying to do this in the way that makes the most sense. We need the lithium from Lithia salt. Man, everything uses productivities. Well, that's going to make the setup huge. So that comes from Lithia salt. This one right here requires Lithia salt. Let's see, sodium perchlorate. We'll do that. Finally, a small one. Let's do the Lithia salt here, which we actually do have two different ways of doing it. We can make it from brown algae, which is the infinite way, from saline water, which our factory has a ton of, but I think that might be more work than it's worth, because we can just turn all of that saline water into salt. We're not really using the thermal water for much, so I kind of want to do that instead. So chemical plants, wow, more productivities. That's what's going to make this setup pretty big. Then the Lithia water itself comes from the thermal water. And some actual speeds. It's kind of a lot of thermal water. So it's pretty good we did all these productivity modules, because otherwise these numbers would be a lot higher. So following this down, to make the battery requires a lithium cobalt oxide, which comes from cobalt oxide and lithium. The lithium comes from lithium salt, and the lithium perchlorate up here comes from lithium salt as well. So then that lithium salt comes from lithium water, which is processed from thermal water. And then we also need the sodium perchlorate, which is down here, and we need to do blue metal catalyst, and we need some purified water, but we'll have some. And then sodium chlorate here. Needs some hydrogen chloride gas, but that can come from another part of the factory. And the sodium hydroxide, probably the best way is just to take sodium hydroxide and add water to it. We'll have the purified water here. So, is that everything? This one could use some speed modules to get it down to one machine. Everything's got modules in it. Let's look at our inputs and outputs. Lots of sodium, hydrogen chloride, which we have. We do need to make these metal catalysts, which should be pretty easy. It doesn't really require much machine to do it. We will have to get those 2 ores here, which is in very limited quantities right now. But we can get it. Thermal water can come from the mine that cobalt oxide will have. Plastic, carbon. Yeah. So kind of now the question is, where do we want to do all of this? A lot of this is on trains, but also a lot of it isn't. Ideally, we would do this setup down here, because not only is sodium hydroxide being made right here, but it's also where the thermal water is. So it's kind of the perfect place to do all of it. Maybe like in here. And how many steps would we want to do? Well, we'd want to process the thermal water into at least the lithium salt. That could potentially be sent on a train, but then the problem is that when we make the lithium perchlorate, it's going to make salt, which would then have to be sent back here. So it really makes sense that all this is made here, plus it would create hydrogen gas, which could connect right there as well. So taking it that far makes sense. Maybe the lithium perchlorate could be sent on a train, because that's kind of the final output here. And then the lithium actually could be mixed with the cobalt oxide to make the lithium cobalt oxide. I almost wonder if we even need to send this at all, because then we would just need carbon and plastic. But getting those up here would be harder. Carbon's over here, which could be sent down. Plastic, yeah. I mean, it could be, but that's the big part. Like, a lot of these machines get very large, so I'm not sure we'd have the room for absolutely everything. But cobalt oxide would be here. We could potentially send it down. But it is already connected to a train, and it just filled up the train. So I don't know how valuable that would be, but lithium could go on a train. Cobalt oxide would be on a train. Sodium perchlorate would be on a train. And then the water would stay around here. They would be near all the resources they would need. Basically, the salt would go back in. We'd be making sodium hydroxide, but then the salt would be an output and would just go straight back into the system. Hydrogen would get burned. We'd have a little bit of extra purified water. Yeah, that seems okay. Oh, hey, look at that. We finally topped up on the titanium. And the gold, too. So that's going to start backing up. And robots are continuing to do their thing. Looks like they're almost done. A lot of these belts are empty, but it's probably just empty because they haven't placed them all yet. But, no. Something is definitely empty here. So why is that? No lubricant. That's an interesting thing to be out of. Because I thought we had a setup to make more. Oh. Power's gone. Okay. Why is power gone yet again? Is it not being made here? Oh no, it is. Could be, we're just using too much now. And it's just about morning again, so it's almost like we're just not making it to morning. Like our accumulators are not powerful enough anymore. Because it seems like it's happening at the same time. Let's see. All those are still connected, it looks like. Oh, well, that one did get broken. So we are missing one there. I don't know if that really mattered, though. So we should be burning these wooden bricks. It is connected. Ah. I thought I placed all these. How come they're gone again? Could be that there's kind of like a layer of tiles that cause it to get destroyed. Not just immediately the tile that's under it, but maybe the tiles that are beside it as well. But that is very strange, because, I mean, you saw me do it. I totally replaced all of them. And the leftover bit right there. But they are placed yet again. So we'll wait it out. Wait for the sun to come up and power to begin again. And there we go. Power is flowing yet again. Hopefully this is the last time that those pumps get messed up. So why don't we have lubricant? Was it just being low on power, or... Nope. We are out of the mineral oil, which means the fish setup is not doing its thing. Why is that? Filled up on the fish oil. Ah, because that, I guess, does not count as a flare stack. Is that a clarifier thing? Let's search it. Fish oil. Oh, is this one of those things that we cannot get rid of? So, let's see if we can find the void recipes. Yeah, look at that. It's another one of those, deal with it resources that you can't dump. Huh. Well, okay then. What was our input? So we had all of these, which are asking for 0.67, but it looks like those should have modules in them. They absolutely should, because yeah, it's based on 2 per second. Nonetheless, still not going to work. Well, if we still have the thing in here, we can just kind of calculate it. And it looks like we already have this in here, where we're taking that fish oil and turning it into fermentation base. And it looks like fermentation base also cannot be clarified away. Nope. It's yet another thing that we're screwed on. Well, okay. Well, I wasn't expecting to take it this far, but we can get compost out of it, which we do use for things. The acetic acid we don't really need right now. It goes into liquid plastic if we wanted to take it that far. We don't. But the ethanol gas can actually just be burned. We could throw it into resin if it's available. And finally we could void it. But actually we probably just want to burn it instead. Okay then. We'll take that down one more step, because we're already processing it. So, speed modules, we only need the 2. Which creates the ethanol gas, which could be voided, but also could just be burned. Not sure exactly how much it would burn, but let's just assume it's 1. Well, there's no point in having this on the end if it can't be flared away. Same here. No point if you can't flare it. Well, we only need 1 liquefier for this. Making compost and ethanol gas. Speed, efficiency. And we'll probably want to just go up there and grab the heat source and the steam engines. So we want the fluid burning heat source. Probably just the 1. And also probably just the 1 heat exchanger. I can't imagine this is going to be producing stuff all that fast. And it looks like it's a 4-to-1 ratio on that. So we'll grab 4 of them. Fixing problems, that's what you do in Factorio. Luckily, the factory actually kind of handles these kind of things just fine. You just gotta notice when things are a little weird and then fix them. So we have the fluid burning heat source right there. We'll just pump it straight in. I don't think we need to try to save any of it. I mean, we could, because it would go into resin, but we're doing it with formaldehyde and urea. So I don't even think we could really use it. Are we using it to make rubber? Hey, we went through all of that. Well, we're out of everything. So we probably should just burn it. And we'll put this here and just go sideways. Probably should have grabbed some heat pipes, but we can make a small amount of them manually. And water doesn't really use that much water. We could probably just steal it from these pump jacks. Let's upgrade them. And then steal the water. There we go. And then we'll need to grab... Uh-oh, can't put it there. That compost. Well, we have multiple sources of it, but instead of putting on a drone, we could just kind of send it up here. That would probably be easiest rather than having logic conditions. It will require that it snake around a bit to get in here, though. But it'll make it. Doesn't really matter. It's a low priority thing. But we want it to go somewhere, because that would kind of suck if it just got overloaded again. And how much would this need? It actually makes very little. Like, this isn't going to make very much at all. Okay. Well, when we hook up this fermentation base, it should start grinding through it. And it is. Now these are all going again. Making both lubricant and mineral oil, because both are low. See, those are still kind of loud. Nutrient extractors. Still seems like it's not going through it quite as fast. Of course, it could have a big buffer, but let's just max this out. Oh, it's actually not burning it fast enough here. Interesting. Can we actually build one of these? Unfortunately, no. Let's grab a second one. Not sure what the actual ratio is here. Actually, depends on the neighbor bonus, because clearly a couple of these can support a whole bunch of these. Let's take it one step at a time. I don't really think it's that important, because it's just not going to produce that much. It's just it is right now, because it's been sitting around. So we'll put a second one in there. And does that use it all up? It does. Although still doesn't quite go through all of this. Because I guess we technically need to use all of it. 403. Well, that does not do it. Seems like it's making it through it anyway. Filling up on the mineral oil. Yep. Filling up on the lubricant. Yep. So, as a result, all of this should be going again. Yep. Filling up. And robots are still working on the last few belts. But it's mostly been upgraded down there, and the ore bus itself. It's nice to see all those fast blue arrows. It certainly has a higher capacity now. Still overloaded. Nickel and zinc. We really need to make a request of some of those oddball resources. And actually we're just about to make one of, look, I think that's bronze. So that request will help. And that's gone through everything. So I guess we'll just let it keep going. So these batteries. We got quite the setup to do. Some parts of it are real small and some parts of it are not. Well, let's go to the bus, I suppose, and build it there. Probably can have this thing making way less than 2,000. Probably just 200 now. Because most builds are going to be using blue belts, if anything. So I feel like all of these can be set to minimum amounts again. Looks like the cobalt is gone, so not many belts are going to get replaced now. So hopefully everything holds out. And that's the end of this episode. On the next one, we are going to start working on that lithium intermediates setup. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.